Well, a very good evening to you. Thanks for clicking on to this evening, the Thursday edition of the Long Range Discussion. Mark Vogan here for firsthandweather.com, and we have got a pretty chilly air mass in place across the UK, and we had seen some sleet and snow showers even pushing through the central belt of Scotland over the course of this afternoon and this evening. The air has been generally growing colder as the day progressed. We had more airflow pushing southeastwards across the UK, introducing cooler and cooler air that's basically coming from up across Iceland. So that constant feed has been forcing the air to grow colder as today went on, and of course very heavy showers rattling through aboard that northwesterly flow has forced sleet and snow showers down to low levels. We continue to see very cold air anywhere from Scandinavia right all the way down into the southeast of Europe. We've seen blizzard conditions across the Balkans, through Bulgaria, into Romania as well, all but shutting down many parts of those countries with brutally cold air, gale force winds, and of course combined with that heavy snow, very blizzard whiteout conditions. You can see why, folks. The cold air extending all the way down in towards the Mediterranean Sea. At the base of the trough, we've got a very large upper level low. That, folks, is of course the feature producing the very wild conditions across the southeast corner of Europe. Of course, up to the north of that is very cold air. We're seeing temperatures struggling across Moscow, into Kiev, Bucharest, and then of course up into Scandinavia as well. So a very interesting weather map across Europe. But I'm going to progress through the sequence, folks, and you can see here by Friday the cold air continues across the UK. By tomorrow we'll be seeing more heavy showers turning very wintry over the course of tomorrow, even down to low levels, folks, as that cold northwest feed continues to feed in that cold air. But high pressure is actually building in, so we should be seeing clearing skies, much sunnier, brighter conditions during the course of Friday afternoon across mainly the northern half of the UK. We have got the start of tomorrow should see heavy showers, some of which hail, sleet and snow across the northwest of England, and through the course of Friday we should see those progressing southeastwards towards East Anglia and the southeast of England, and of course clear, sunnier conditions further north across Scotland. But you notice here, folks, that upper level feature over the southeast of Europe lingering. We'll continue to see wind, heavy snow. Notice the blues starting to progress more towards the actual Mediterranean north coast here. My concern is, and I've alluded to this on my blog and on Facebook, that it wouldn't surprise me, folks, if some of the holiday resorts across parts of Greece into the west of Turkey, wouldn't be surprised if we actually see some snow right down to sea level. We are talking about a very cold air mass all the way down towards the coastline. So it would be a very interesting next few days, I think, over the southeast of Europe. And like I said, don't be surprised if you start to see reports, pictures, video of snow even along the coast of Greece. You notice here this feature here. This here is a polar area of upper level low pressure. And what's going to be taking place here over the course of the next several days is this feature combined with a high pressure centre over the north of Finland. And I'm going to show you this actually off the GFS surface pressure chart. And this basically indicates what I'm talking about here. You notice here the centre of high pressure here, generally from northern Finland up into the northern European part of Russia. You notice here the flow would be of a clockwise direction, so it's circling clockwise around this centre right here, and of course you've got this strong, vigorous low pressure which blows counterclockwise. So the feed of this here around this area of high pressure and the surface low here basically is drawn in air that's from western parts of Siberia and Asia, and that's going to feed colder air, Siberian origin air, into eastern parts of Europe over the next 4 or 5 days. And what that's going to do, folks, is it's going to grow and intensify the cold that's already in place. If you think it's very cold at the moment, I am very concerned that we could be looking at record-breaking cold into the early part of next week, given the fact that we're going to be seeing a chunk of pure Siberian high-octane Arctic air that's going to flow in between the high. It's getting fed in between the high and this area of low pressure in the southeast, going to feed that Arctic air into eastern and central parts of Europe. Now, back to the UK again, folks. Going to skip ahead to Saturday. And you notice here that there's a battleground starts to show up. Very cold air, high pressure, building that and forcing that Arctic air, very cold air, should I say, all the way across to the east coast of the UK. So we could be seeing some very chilly numbers over the North Sea and eastern part of the UK by Saturday. Now, clear skies, generally sunny conditions, beautiful conditions, remaining fairly cool, although it's sunny, it will be cool across the UK on Saturday. But by Sunday, what is interesting here, folks, and this is worth pointing out, you notice the fight zone. Atlantic air and frontal systems attached to an area of low pressure is going to try and force its way across Ireland, which it should have no problem crossing Ireland. But once it reaches the UK, it comes up against the resistance of this area of high pressure. This area of high pressure over tomorrow and Saturday will keep the frontal systems west of the UK, allowing that sunnier conditions, northwest feed, and of course remaining cool but sunny and settled. But by Sunday, the pressures may lower enough to allow this frontal boundary to push across the UK, certainly across western and central parts. It may have a tough time crossing over the mountains and getting into the eastern part because of this area of high pressure. You notice the cold air over Europe. Look at how frigid cold it is. But the concern about this frontal boundary is the fact that it's bumping up against the cold air over the UK. What that might do is it might force snowfall even down to low levels by Sunday, and through the day it might actually we might see an increased chance of snowfall across particularly the north, but it wouldn't surprise me even down into the Midlands of England as well. We see some low level snowfall. So interesting conditions for the UK. Bright, sunny, settled for tomorrow into Saturday, and of course by Sunday we might see that increased snow potential for the UK. Remaining unsettled from Spain all the way across the Mediterranean. Of course, the jet stream, the active storm track to the south, cold air, high pressure to the north. But you notice here, folks, that the polar low here that's been dominating the southeast, bringing in blizzard conditions and cold weather, that's starting to scoot off to the north and northwest. And this here, folks, is the feed of very, very cold air starting to infiltrate into Europe. Notice here, the tongue of blue starting to show up in the Tuesday, Thursday. Look at this is the concern, folks. The very, very severe Arctic outbreak by early to mid next week. Very concerned about just how cold that air mass is. Of course, heights are building to the west over the UK, but we'll continue to keep you posted, folks. There is a lot of changing, a lot of chopping and changing. This here, folks, is the area of greatest uncertainty. So the models are going to flip back and forward more over western parts of Europe as opposed to the central and eastern parts, where this is more written in stone, so to speak. This here is the fight zone. The models are struggling to understand what's going on. Therefore, they're going to flip back and forth. They will continuously do so. I urge you to not buy into an individual run, but watch the trend. That is my philosophy. I will continue to stick by it. Hope you have a great evening, folks, and a great weekend ahead. Continue to check back for the latest updates. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.